Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we are tackling a big one, building a true sales machine. We're going to break down the ideas from Predictable Revenue by Aaron Ross and Mary Lou Tyler. This is the exact system that helped Salesforce.com add a cool $100 million in revenue. So yeah, it's a big deal. Let's get right into it.
I mean, how great is that quote? A funeral for my phone. It just perfectly nails this feeling, right? Are you just tired of sales methods that feel like they belong in a museum? So many teams are still stuck using these old-school tactics like traditional cold calling that they just don't work like they used to.
Okay, be honest. Does this slide hit a little too close to home? That frantic end-of-the-quarter scramble? The whole hope and a prayer strategy to maybe, just maybe, hit your numbers? It's this endless cycle of guesswork and, let's face it, a ton of stress. But what if? What if you could actually make your revenue predictable?
And that is the big promise here. We're talking about putting an end to the chaos, the randomness of it all. It's a huge mindset shift, really. You stop just chasing deals, and instead, you start engineering a system, a machine that pumps them out consistently.
The common wisdom is to just work harder, right? Put in more hours, hire some sales superstar who can work magic. But the book says, nope, that's not it. The real solution is working smarter. It's about having a system. And the best part? This isn't just some theory somebody cooked up. It's literally built on the best practices that help Salesforce.com become, Salesforce.
Okay, so how do we actually build this thing? It really boils down to three key parts.
All right, here they are. First, predictable lead generation. This is the fuel for your machine. You gotta have a steady supply. Second, you need a dedicated sales development team. Think of them as the people whose only job is to load the fuel into the engine. And third, you need consistent sales systems. This is like the operational glue that holds everything together. Your qualification rules, how you use your CRM, the handoff process, all that stuff that makes sure nothing gets missed. You need all three or the whole thing just doesn't work predictably.
But here's the thing. Out of all the changes you could make, there is one single foundational change that has the biggest impact of all, and that is specialization. Honestly, this is the big aha moment of the entire system.
So let's talk about what this looks like. We're essentially creating a sales assembly line. The whole idea is to stop asking one person to be a jack of all trades, to find a brand new lead, nurture them, and then close a huge deal all by themselves. It's not efficient.
Instead, you break it down into two super specialized roles. On one side, you've got your sales development reps, your SDRs. These are your hunters. Their only job is to go out there and find qualified opportunities. Then you have your account executives, the AEs. They are your closers, and their only job is to close the deals that the hunters bring back. Simple, right?
So let's really drill down on the SDR role. Their mission is super focused. Just fill the top of the sales funnel. That's it. They become absolute experts at finding the right companies and just starting conversations. And here's the key part. You measure them on the number of qualified opportunities they create, not on closed revenue.
And what about the account executive? Well, think about it. You're freeing them from that constant, soul-crushing grind of cold prospecting. And that means these really valuable senior people can spend 100% of their time and energy on what they are amazing at, working those tricky deals and, closing business.
Look, it comes down to this. Having your most expensive salesperson, your account executive, spend their day doing lower value work like cold prospecting is just a huge waste of money and talent. They probably hate doing it, and honestly, they're usually not the best at it anyway. Specialization it fixes that whole problem.
All right, so we've got our specialized roles set up. The next big question is, how do the SDRs actually get that predictable flow of leads? Well, they use a playbook that the book calls Cold Calling 2.0.
And here is the beautiful irony of Cold Calling 2.0. It involves zero traditional cold calling. I know, right? A cold call is when you just interrupt someone out of the blue. This system completely replaces that with something much smarter and frankly more respectful, an email-first approach.
And this really lays out that assembly line for us. It's a clear 5-step process. First, you figure out exactly who you're going after. Then you build a list of those people. Step 3, you run your email campaigns to get the ball rolling. Step 4, you have a quick call to qualify them and sell the dream. And then finally, you pass that beautiful, qualified lead over to an account executive.
Now, I gotta stop here because the book is adamant about this. Do not skip step 1.
Defining your ideal customer profile, your ICP, is the foundation for this entire system. If you get this wrong, you're just going to waste so much time and energy chasing the wrong people. But if you nail this, everything else becomes so much easier.
So how well does this actually work? Well, the book suggests that a really simple, short, text-based email to a super targeted list can get an 8 to 12% response rate. That's pretty good. But that's just the top. The real magic happens when you turn it into a predictable funnel. Maybe half of those responses turn into a real conversation, and maybe a quarter of those become a qualified opportunity for your closers. See? Now you've got math. You've got a formula.
It's so important to remember, though, that a reply to an email is not a qualified opportunity. Not yet. The whole job of the SDR is to take that initial flicker of interest and see if it's a real, truly qualified opportunity. And what does that mean? It's simple. Is this prospect worth an AE's very valuable and very expensive time?
So, when is it time for the SDR to pass the baton? They use a really simple, clear checklist. It's basically 3 questions. 1, does this company fit our ideal customer profile? 2, are we talking to someone with some actual influence? And 3, are they clearly interested in taking a next step, like a discovery call? If it's a yes to all 3, boom, time for the handoff. So, when you put all of this together, what do you get? It's a total transformation of your sales team. You stop relying on a few sales artists, those lone wolves who do their own thing, and instead, you build a team of sales engineers who are all operating a finely tuned, predictable machine.
And I love this image because it just shows that transformation so perfectly. You're leaving behind that chaotic, spiky, stressful red zone of unpredictable sales, and you're moving into that beautiful, smooth, upward climbing green line of predictable growth. And that's the whole point, isn't it? The ultimate goal is to create a flywheel. Now look, it might take a little effort to get it spinning at first, but once you have specialization, your prospecting process, and your sales systems all working together, it just keeps going, consistently churning out qualified opportunities. And, you guessed it, predictable revenue, month in and month out.
So, that brings us to the final question, and this one's for you to think about. Take a hard look at your own business. Is your sales team a collection of artists, each one kind of hoping for a stroke of genius? Or are you ready to build that finely tuned assembly line, one that's engineered from the ground up for predictable success?